The iron gates of Willowbrook Manor stood open, revealing a long cobblestone driveway lined with blooming cherry trees. Maya Sullivan's hands gripped the steering wheel of her aging Toyota as the engine sputtered ominously. "Please, not now," she whispered, but the universe wasn't listening. With a final cough, the car died completely, still 50 yards from the parking area. Maya checked her phone. 20 minutes late. Her best friend Sophia's wedding had already started. She could hear the faint strains of the string quartet even from here. Abandoning her car, Maya grabbed her bridesmaid bouquet from the passenger seat and ran, her champagne-colored heels clicking frantically against the stone pathway. The massive oak doors of the estate's garden venue loomed ahead. Through the ornate windows, she could see the ceremony in progress. Maya took a breath, smoothed down her dress, and pushed through the doors as quietly as possible. Which is to say, not quietly at all. Every head turned as she rushed down the aisle, breathless and disheveled. Her carefully pinned updo had come loose, dark curls falling around her flushed face. She was supposed to be standing up there with the other bridesmaids, not making a dramatic entrance like some kind of late-arriving disaster. Lucas Brennan stood near the altar as a groomsman, and he couldn't help but stare. There was something captivating about this woman rushing toward them, all flustered energy and genuine emotion. Unlike the carefully composed guests around him, she was refreshingly real. When her green eyes met his, they widened with mortification, and she mouthed a silent "sorry" before taking her place in line. Lucas found himself smiling despite the interruption. At 34, he'd attended enough weddings to know they usually blurred together in a haze of identical traditions and polite conversations. But this one had just become memorable. The ceremony proceeded beautifully. Sophia and her groom exchanged vows that made even Lucas, who'd built his career on cold calculation as an investment banker, feel a tug of emotion. But his attention kept drifting to the mysterious late arrival. She stood perfectly still now, her posture graceful, but he noticed her fingers trembling slightly around her bouquet, the way she blinked rapidly during the emotional moments. When the reception began, Lucas made his way through the crowd with purpose. He found her near the edge of the garden terrace, sipping champagne and watching couples dance under the string lights. "You know," Lucas said, approaching with an easy smile, "that was quite an entrance. I don't think I've ever seen someone make being late look so dramatic." She turned, and a genuine laugh escaped her lips. The sound was warm and uninhibited. "Trust me, that wasn't my intention. My car decided today was the perfect day to die on me. I had to abandon it halfway up the driveway and run." "Run?" Lucas raised an eyebrow. "In those heels? That's either incredibly dedicated or slightly reckless." "Probably both," she admitted, her smile widening. "But I couldn't miss Sophia's big day. She's been one of my best friends since nursing school." Lucas extended his hand. "Lucas Brennan. I'm Andrew's college roommate and apparently his partner in terrible golf decisions." Her hand was warm in his, her grip confident. "Maya Sullivan, professional wedding latecomer and car abandoner extraordinaire." They fell into easy conversation, moving from wedding stories to their lives. Lucas learned that Maya worked as a pediatric nurse at Children's Hope Hospital, specializing in the oncology ward. When she spoke about her young patients, her entire face transformed with passion and tenderness. "It's the hardest job I've ever had," Maya said softly, "but also the most important. These kids are fighting battles that most adults couldn't handle. Being there for them, making them smile even for a moment, it matters." Lucas found himself genuinely fascinated. In his world of portfolios and profit margins, he rarely met people who measured success in moments of joy rather than zeros in a ban account. "That sounds incredible. Have you always worked with children?" Something flickered across Maya's face, a shadow of sadness that disappeared almost immediately. "Life has a way of showing you what really matters," she said quietly. "Sometimes circumstances force you to reevaluate everything you thought you wanted." Before Lucas could ask what she meant, the band struck up a romantic melody, and he found himself asking, "Would you like to dance?" Maya hesitated for just a heartbeat before placing her hand in his. "I should warn you, I'm pretty terrible at this." "Then we'll be terrible together," Lucas said smoothly, leading her to the dance floor. On the dance floor, Lucas discovered that Maya had undersold herself. She moved with natural grace, her body fitting perfectly against his. They swayed in comfortable silence for a while, and Lucas realized he couldn't remember the last time he'd felt so content. "Can I ask you something?" Maya said, looking up at him. "What's an investment banker doing at a garden wedding? Shouldn't you be at some important meeting closing deals?" Lucas chuckled. "Even ruthless financiers have friends. And some things are more important than meetings. Andrew and I have been friends since college. When people matter to you, you show up." Maya nodded, understanding passing between them. "That's a good philosophy." As the evening wore on, Lucas found every excuse to stay near Maya. They talked about everything: childhood dreams, favorite books, terrible movies they secretly loved. With each passing moment, Lucas felt something shifting inside him. This woman with her second-hand dress and practical shoes, with her passion for helping others and genuine warmth, had captivated him completely. When guests began to leave, Lucas walked Maya to her abandoned car. She looked embarrassed by the old Toyota with its dented bumper and faded paint. "I'd really like to see you again," Lucas said, his voice more sincere than he intended. "If you're interested." Maya bit her lip, clearly torn. "Lucas, you seem wonderful, but our lives are pretty different. I work crazy hours at the hospital, and I don't really have time for coffee," Lucas interrupted. "Just coffee. Something simple." She studied his face for a long moment, searching for something. Finally, she pulled out her phone. "Okay. Coffee. But I'm buying." As Maya drove away after getting her car jump-started, Lucas watched her taillights disappear into the night, already counting the hours until he could see her again. What he didn't know was that Maya Sullivan carried a secret that would challenge everything he thought he knew about love, courage, and what truly mattered when time itself became precious. 3 weeks passed before Lucas finally convinced Maya to meet for that coffee. She'd been polite but evasive in her texts, always mentioning work commitments. When she finally agreed to meet at a cafe near the hospital, Lucas arrived 15 minutes early, nervous in a way he hadn't been since his first major presentation. Maya arrived exactly on time, wearing jeans and a soft blue sweater. She looked tired, Lucas noticed, with faint shadows under her eyes that makeup couldn't quite hide. "Sorry if I look exhausted," Maya said, sliding into the seat across from him. "Double shift at the hospital. One of our patients had a rough night." Their coffee date turned into lunch, then into a walk through the nearby park. Over the following month, Lucas and Maya fell into a pattern of stolen moments between her shifts. Dinner dates when she wasn't too tired. Movie nights at her small apartment. Long phone conversations that stretched past midnight. Lucas found himself completely captivated. Maya was funny, intelligent, and deeply compassionate. She told stories about her young patients that made him laugh and cry in equal measure. But he also noticed things that concerned him. She sometimes canceled plans last minute with vague excuses. She occasionally winced as if in pain, then brushed it off. On their dates, she often wore scarves or hats even indoors. One evening, after a particularly romantic dinner at his apartment, Maya and Lucas shared their first real kiss. It started tender and gentle, then deepened with the weeks of building attraction. Lucas pulled her close, his hands in her hair, and felt her relax against him. In that moment, everything felt perfect and right. "Stay," Lucas whispered against her lips. Maya pulled back slightly, conflict clear in her eyes. "Lucas, I want to, but..." "But what?" "Talk to me, Maya. I feel like there's something you're not telling me." She looked away. It's complicated. I don't care about complicated, Lucas said, cupping her face gently. I care about you. Maya's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them back. I care about you too. More than I should. Why shouldn't you? She kissed him again instead of answering, and Lucas let it go, not wanting to push. But the question lingered between them. 2 weeks later, Lucas invited Maya to a charity gala his firm was hosting. She agreed reluctantly, and when the evening arrived, she looked stunning in a simple black dress. But halfway through dinner, Maya suddenly went pale, her hand gripping the table. I need to go, she said, her voice strained. I'm sorry, I don't feel well. Let me take you home, Lucas insisted, immediately concerned. No, I'll be fine. It's just a migraine. I get them sometimes. Lucas watched her rush out, frustrated and worried. Something was wrong, and Maya wouldn't let him in. What he didn't know was that Maya had just finished her 3rd round of chemotherapy that morning. The cancer in her lymph nodes was spreading despite treatment, and every day she fell deeper in love with Lucas while knowing she was living on borrowed time. She'd already lost one man when she told him about her diagnosis. Her ex-boyfriend had left within 2 weeks, unable to handle the reality of her illness. Maya couldn't bear to see that same fear and rejection in Lucas's eyes. So she kept her secret, even as it tore her apart inside, knowing that eventually, the truth would destroy everything beautiful they'd built together. Lucas showed up at Maya's apartment unannounced 3 days later with Thai food and a determination to get answers. When she opened the door, his heart stopped. Maya wore a soft headscarf instead of her usual styled hair, and she looked impossibly fragile, dark circles prominent under her eyes. Lucas, I wasn't expecting. Maya, please. Just talk to me. He stepped inside, setting down the food. Something's wrong, and I need you to trust me enough to tell me what it is. Maya's composure crumbled. Tears streamed down her face as she sank onto the couch. I'm sick, Lucas. I have stage 3 lymphoma. I was diagnosed 8 months ago, right before Sophia's wedding. The words hit Lucas like a physical blow. What? I've been doing chemotherapy between my shifts at the hospital. That's why I'm always tired, why I cancel plans, her voice broke. I didn't tell you because I knew you'd leave. Just like Cameron did. Who's Cameron? My ex-boyfriend. I told him about the diagnosis, and 2 weeks later he said he couldn't handle it. That he was too young to deal with watching someone die. So he left. Maya looked up at him with devastated eyes. And I don't blame him. I don't blame you if you want to leave either. Lucas felt like he was drowning. Cancer. Chemotherapy. She'd been fighting this battle alone while falling in love with him. He stood abruptly, needing air, needing space to process. I need some time to think, he said, his voice hollow. I understand. Maya's voice was small, resigned. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. Lucas left, and Maya collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. She'd known this would happen. She'd known, and yet it still destroyed her. For 3 days, Lucas didn't call or text. He spent 72 hours researching lymphoma, reading survival statistics, watching videos about chemotherapy side effects. He talked to his sister, who was a doctor, asking every question he could think of. And he realized something fundamental: he was in love with Maya Sullivan. Her illness didn't change that, it just made every moment more precious. On the 4th day, Lucas showed up at Children's Hope Hospital. He found Maya sitting in the chemotherapy infusion center, an 4 in her arm, looking small and exhausted in the large chair. When she saw him, her eyes widened with shock. What are you doing here? Lucas knelt beside her chair, taking her free hand in both of his. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I walked out. I was shocked and scared, and I handled it terribly. But Maya, I'm not him. I'm not Cameron. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. Lucas, you don't have to. I love you, he said firmly. I'm in love with you, and your cancer doesn't change that. It just means we fight it together. Whatever you need, however long it takes, I'm here for all of it. Maya broke down completely, and Lucas held her as she cried, whispering promises against her hair. We're going to fight this together. You're not alone anymore. For the first time since her diagnosis, Maya felt something she hadn't dared to feel, hope. The next 3 months were the hardest of both their lives. Lucas restructured his entire world around Maya's treatment schedule. He took her to every chemotherapy appointment, held her hand during the worst of the nausea, and stayed up with her through the nights when she was too sick to sleep. He researched everything: diet changes, meditation techniques, support groups. He filled her apartment with healthy foods and fresh flowers. On her worst days, when she was too weak to stand, he carried her to the bathroom and helped her shower, his touch always gentle and respectful. Maya's condition initially stabilized. The tumors stopped growing, and her oncologist, Dr. Patricia Chen, seemed cautiously optimistic. During this period of relative stability, Lucas and Maya grew even closer. They had quiet evenings watching old movies, gentle intimacy on days when Maya felt strong enough, and long conversations about dreams and fears. One afternoon in the hospital's garden, a peaceful space with flowering trees and stone benches, Lucas got down on one knee. Maya Sullivan, I know this isn't the fairy tale proposal you probably imagined. But I can't imagine my life without you in it, however long we have together. Will you marry me? He opened a small velvet box, revealing a simple diamond ring that had belonged to his grandmother. Maya sobbed. Yes. 1,000 times yes. They planned a small wedding for when she finished treatment. But 3 weeks later, devastating news came during a routine scan. Dr. Chen's expression was grave as she showed them the images. The cancer has spread to your liver and lungs. The current treatment isn't working anymore. Maya felt her world collapse. How long? Without intervention, 6 to 12 months. But there's a clinical trial I'd like to discuss. It's an experimental immunotherapy treatment. It's aggressive, with significant risks, but it's shown promising results in cases like yours. That night, Maya told Lucas she wanted to refuse the treatment. I'm so tired of fighting. And it's not fair to tie you to someone who's dying. Lucas took her face in his hands, his eyes fierce with determination. Listen to me. We fight until there's nothing left to fight with. You don't get to give up, Maya. I won't let you. Lucas. No. I love you, and I'm going to fight for you even when you can't fight for yourself. We're trying this treatment, and we're going to beat this thing together. His certainty, his unwavering faith, rekindled something in Maya. She agreed to the clinical trial, and they began the hardest battle yet. The experimental treatment was brutal, more aggressive than anything she'd experienced before. But Lucas never left her side. When her hair fell out completely, Lucas shaved his own head in solidarity. We're in this together, he said simply. Every step. And Maya finally believed that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't fighting alone anymore. The experimental treatment nearly killed Maya before it saved her. For 6 months, she endured side effects that were worse than anything the cancer had thrown at her. She lost dangerous amounts of weight. Her immune system crashed multiple times, landing her in isolation. There were moments when she begged Lucas to let her stop, and moments when he had to be strong enough for both of them. Lucas took a leave of absence from work, moving into Maya's apartment to care for her full-time. He learned to administer medications, recognize warning signs, and coordinate with her medical team. His family rallied around them, his sister helped with medical questions, his parents brought meals, and his friends started a fundraiser for her treatment costs. Then, 9 months after starting the trial, Dr. Chen delivered news that seemed impossible: the tumors are shrinking. Your latest scans show the cancer is in remission. Maya and Lucas collapsed into each other's arms, crying with relief and disbelief. They'd won. Against all odds, they'd actually won. 2 months later, they had their wedding in the hospital chapel where Maya had received so much of her treatment. She was still recovering, thin and bald, but radiant in a simple white dress. Lucas couldn't take his eyes off her as she walked down the aisle supported by her father. "You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen," he whispered when she reached him. Their vows were simple but profound. They promised to cherish every moment, to never take time for granted, to love each other through whatever came next. 1 year later, Dr. Chen officially declared Maya cancer-free. She returned to work part-time at Children's Hope Hospital, now with even deeper empathy for her young patients. Lucas had started the Sullivan Brennan Foundation, funding cancer research and patient support programs. 2 years after Maya's diagnosis, she discovered she was pregnant. The doctors had warned that the treatments might make conception difficult, but somehow, miraculously, they were going to have a baby. On a warm Saturday evening, Maya and Lucas attended another friend's wedding. They stood at the edge of the dance floor, Maya's hand resting on her growing belly, watching couples celebrate. "Remember when we met at Sophia's wedding?" Maya said softly. "I was that disaster of a bridesmaid who showed up late." Lucas pulled her close, his hand covering hers on her stomach. "Best disaster that ever happened to me." "Our story isn't exactly a fairy tale," Maya mused. "No," Lucas agreed, pressing a kiss to her temple. "It's better. Because we fought for it. Every horrible, beautiful moment of it." Maya looked up at him, tears of gratitude in her eyes. She'd almost kept her secret, almost pushed him away out of fear. But trusting Lucas had saved her life, not just medically, but in every way that mattered. As they swayed together to the music, Maya's hand on her belly and Lucas's arms around her, they both understood that the greatest gift wasn't the time they'd been given, but what they'd chosen to do with it: love each other fiercely, fight impossibly hard, and never, ever take a single moment for granted. Their love story had started with a late entrance, but it would last a lifetime.